Good morning, good afternoon and good evening. Welcome to Cubitt Cars and thank you for finding our video online. We assume you found this video because you're looking for your Porsche Boxster. And the reason we're doing this video today is really to show you the condition of the car that we've got in stock, show you who we are and where we are, talk you through the history and talk you through the spec and what makes us different and what makes this car different to maybe other cars that you might have seen online. So first of all, what we're going to do is take a little walk around the car and look at the condition of it. I'll go through all the technical data in a moment, but yeah, it is a Porsche Boxster S. Obviously it's a two-seater, a convertible car. With it being an S, it's got the larger of the engines, the engine that in my opinion you want. You can do the roof off the key, as I'm showing you here, but it's also got the PDK gearbox as well, which is arguably one of the best gearboxes that you can get in a modern automatic. So looking down the driver's side of the car, really nice straight condition. All the panel gaps meet as you expect them to do. All the paintwork looks nice and fresh as you'd expect it to do. There's no signs of road rash on the sills, which you tend to do on cars that have been potentially had a harder life than other ones. The previous owner has just done the tyres before we purchased this car, so it's got Goodyear Eagle F1s front and rear, which really is indicative of the maintenance of this car, which we're going to show you in a bit more detail anyway. But working our way around the back of the car, so the car is a 2012 car, registration plate you'll be able to see now anyway, which is Mike Lima 12 Oscar Papa Bravo. It's got an extendable spoiler at the back. I prefer it in the upright position. Some people prefer it down. We'll show you that that does work. But really condition-wise at the back, really nice and straight. So boot lid's in good condition, rear bumper's in good condition, quarters are in good condition, and all the way down the side of the car's in nice condition as well. So you'd like to kind of take a wander around and have a look at the side. So looking down the side of the car, so rear quarter is in really nice condition. Passenger door is in good condition, so the rear wheel has got a Goodyear Eagle F1 on the back, Goodyear Eagle F1 on the front as well. And if you'd like to take a wander around the front of the car, I'll show you a little bit more there as well. So it's got the red calipers on this car, which is a nice thing to have. But the thing that makes this car different for me is the colour. So it's not just silver. So we know silver is a little bit of an iconic Porsche colour. You tend to see a lot of 911s in them, the old Carreras, 10 a penny in silver. This isn't the same silver, so this is a silver called Platinum Silver, and it was essentially released for the hypercar, the 918, and they put it on a few of select cars that they made at that time as well, this being one of them. So although it actually looks surprisingly dull in these LED lights, you can hopefully see the high points of this car, and the metallic fleck that's in this paint really does bring it out. So there's different Boxsters that you can get. This, as I mentioned before, is a Boxster S, so it's got the 3.4 litre flat six engine. The non-S is the 2.7 flat six engine, and the non-S is about 270 horsepower. This is 315, so it's full fat. There is an argument with enthusiasts that which is better, auto, manual this or auto that, and it tends to boil down to the two things. If you're buying a non-S, a lot of people tend to go for an auto. If you're buying an S, the PDK gearbox, which this has, marries perfectly with it. So it's the right one. It's the right spec. A couple of things if you've never had a Boxster before, so the boot space, or the frunk as they call it in America, is actually surprisingly large and surprisingly deep. So this is where you tend to find your top-up points for brake fluid, oil and for your washer jets as well. But it is quite a large space down there. There's plenty of room for your shopping. And in here, this is where you find your locking wheel nut key and stuff like that. A little bit of a Porsche trick for you: when you close the bonnet, the Porsche badge is the bit you push on to stop anything getting damaged on the bonnet as you're doing it. So service history wise, the last owner of this car had it for 7 years. Obviously an enthusiast, obviously taking care of the car, as you can tell by, discs and pads are in beautiful condition as well. I think they've been done recently. So it's got all of its original book packs, but the service history reads as follows, which is quite a nice read. I'll just put that on the roof. So maintenance on these cars is once every 2 years. That is a Porsche thing. And this is a 2012 car, so we would expect to see our services in 2014, 16, 18, 20 and 22, which has got all of those. This car's always been serviced at either Porsche Centre in Colchester or Brookspeed, and Brookspeed is kind of the place to go. It's an independent garage. For me, I kind of prefer independent specialists to main dealers. Some people would disagree with me. I just think they kind of take a little bit more care and see the importance of what they're doing rather than you as a number. So yeah, everything works as it should do. As we've shown you before, the lights work, all the glass works in nice condition as well, and the spoiler does retract, it goes up and down. I'm just going to show you that now, so I'm going to hop in. So Here we find ourselves sat in arguably one of the most comfortable and most popular sports cars ever made. So Porsche have got this right. It just feels right in here. The level of quality is proper. There's no sort of nasty plastics. Everything feels very German and very right. The seats are comfortable yet sporty, so they've kind of got that balance perfectly right. So you don't feel like you're sat in a kind of awful race car. You feel like you're sat in something that you could quite comfortably drive to the south coast of France in and not feel like you're under too much pressure. So they've got that right, but I've always said that about Porsche seats, they're spot on. So mentioned before the crucial parts of this car. First of all, it's got satellite navigation, which is an optional extra, and secondly, the heated seats. I cannot fathom why you had to pay for heated seats on such an expensive sports car, but it was the case. This has got them. Everything's where you want it to be on here as well. So if we just go in here, it reminds you that you bought the proper one. You went with the S, not the non-S. If we just turn the ignition on into its first cycle, so the things that are important are it shows you what your engine's doing. So what is the pressure in the oil? What is the temperature in the water and the oil as well? And the reason why I think that's important, we've had it before, we've bought sports and performance cars in, and there's no way of telling how warm your engine is. So when you set off from home, how many miles do you have to do before you can give it a bit of pain? Because we all know you should never drive a car hard from cold. Or how many times I've had to explain that, I can't remember. So it's just right, it's Porsche's pedigree in racing that is deriving that sort of quality and that level of detail. Also on the dashboard, you can flick through your different modes on here as well. So you can get your telephone on here, you can get your audio on here as well, so you can decide whether or not you're listening to your Bluetooth, which it has, which is an option. And you can go on to your satellite navigation on here, so that's your maps, which I prefer actually. I think that is the coolest looking thing on here once you know you're up to temperature. But then it shows you directions as well, if you want to, if you're on a motorway, you know what exit you want to take, etc. And also your trip on here as well. So it's just a nice place to be, and I love the rev counter in the centre of the screen as well, and it shows 9,000 revs on there. Now I've never taken one to it, but a 3.4 litre flat six engine certainly sounds like it's getting there. So if we fire the car up, it is pretty much flat cold. As you can see, all the warning lights have turned off as you'd expect it to do. Everything runs as it does properly as you'd expect it to do, and it feels right. I've driven this car and I've done a few miles in it, and I've really enjoyed it. So you've got different modes as well. So you've got sport mode here as well, and that changes the way that the gearbox acts. It holds those gears for longer. It feels quicker on the gearbox. I'm not sure if that's actually tactical or if it is just in your mind. But also you've got your rear spoiler on here. Now I prefer it up. Some people prefer it down. But if we just press the button now, then we can change where that spoiler sits. Now for me, I prefer that. I just think it kind of fits the silhouette of the car. But yeah, that kind of pretty much talks you through everything on the inside. Obviously you've got electric windows, electric mirrors, all the usual sort of stuff. But yeah, overall, I think value for money. What else can you get that's getting you into 981 territory? So hopefully that's given you a little bit of a better idea as to what it is that we're selling, who it is that's selling the car, and a bit more about the condition and the history. Any questions that you got, feel free to drop us an email. So the best email is cars@cubittcars.co.uk. Feel free to give us a call on the landline, which is the 0113 number that you've probably seen on the advert and on the website. Or if you'd prefer to speak to me directly, my name's Rob. Best telephone number for me is 07562 033 162. Hope you found that informative, hope you found it helpful, and hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.